Song of Creation combo in Modern, but make it good. That's what we're doing today. Let's go check it out. In front of you is Modern Song of Creation combo, and if you're unfamiliar with the deck, the whole deck is based around, obviously, Song of Creation, this powerful 4-mana enchantment for a colorless blue-green-red. You can play an extra land each turn, then whenever you cast a spell, you draw 2 cards at the end of your turn, discard your hand. So the whole deck wants to get this card in play. You either cast it for its mana value, or you can use Shifting Woodland to copy it from the graveyard. How does it get to the graveyard? Well, we do play Lurker of the Loch that mills 4 cards, or even Malevolent Rumble. That's how it would get to the graveyard. So you can dig for the Song of Creation using Rumble, but what if you don't find it? That's the big question about these Song of Creation decks. And this deck, I think, answers that in the best way possible by playing cards with a higher quality. So when you look at other lists, they're more all in. They play things like Cash Grab, for example, or, just Strike It Rich, Pented Prism, cards that are not strong on their own individually. So instead, we're playing cards that are just a little bit more powerful, like Temur Inquisitive Student, for example, or Lurker of the Loch. These cards can draw cards either using Mishra's Bauble or the clues off of Temur Inquisitive Student that do eventually find Song of Creation. But each of these cards is also capable of winning the game on its own, which is another benefit of playing them. So that's nice. They also enable Mox Amber. So now you have 8 Moxen in your deck between Mox Opal and Mox Amber. This card is definitely better than Strike It Rich. So that is another upgrade here. Today I've actually taken this idea or this concept a step further. I've cut an Offer You Can't Refuse from the deck, and instead we're playing Engineered Explosives. An Offer You Can't Refuse is nice because on turn 1 you could play a Mishra's Bauble and then cast an Offer You Can't Refuse on your own Mishra's Bauble to create 2 treasures. The issue with that line is that it doesn't happen that often, and an Offer You Can't Refuse is often a protection spell in your deck, but you don't want to give your opponent 2 treasures pretty much ever. Like, I've done it a couple times and it just backfires on me every time, so I'm sort of over it. So instead, today we're playing Engineered Explosives. That's an artifact for Mox Opal, but it also answers problematic permanents like Deafening Silence or High Noon. Those fast affinity starts, it just blows them out of the water. It's good against Boros Energy. There's a lot to like about Engineered Explosives. So I'm playing this today. Obviously, you can also recast it off of Lurker of the Loch, and that's another benefit as well. So when you're playing the Song of Creation combo, you want 0 mana artifacts like the Engineered Explosives, Mox Amber in addition to Mox Opal, Mishra's Bauble, but we also have Noxious Revival. This can put a Grape Shot back on top of the deck if your opponent has a consigned to memory, so that way you can recast it. You could also use Noxious Revival to put Song of Creation back on top of your deck if your opponent counterspells it. So Noxious Revival is this 0 mana value card, or I guess you cast it for 0. The actual mana value is 1, but another free spell for the Song of Creation. Endurance is also kind of similar in the fact that it puts your whole graveyard back into your deck, so that way you can cast Grape Shot again. How you win is this Grape Shot. The number of consigned to memories doesn't really matter in my opinion, because most games when you're ready to cast this card, you'll have a couple of copies of Pact of Negation ready, or you can just Noxious Revival or Endurance it back. It's a question that pops up a lot on videos. How do you deal with it? Well, that's how. So another thing that I would like to discuss is that we are an Urza Saga deck. This is your backup game plan. With all of these artifacts, you have rather large Urza Saga constructs. The Engineered Explosives can clear the way of blockers, so that way the constructs are more likely to win. In the sideboard, we have some upgrades. So today we're playing Boomerang Basics over into the Floodmaw. It's actually much better in this deck because when you cast Boomerang Basics, you could target your own spell, like a Mox Amber, and then draw a card off of the Boomerang Basics. If Song of Creation is in play, you'll now draw 3 cards, and then you get to replay the Mox Amber and draw 2 more. That's pretty powerful. So 1 blue mana, draw 5. We like that. So another upgrade is Mysterized Village. I can't believe I haven't recorded this deck since the printing of Mysterized Village, but it allows you another way to beat blue decks. So having Shifting Woodland is obviously great, but making your Song of Creation uncounterable using the Mysterized Village is also fantastic, so we like that. Vexing Bauble is an artifact we can find off of Urza Saga to make sure that the Song of Creation resolves against a deck like Blue Belcher, for example, and then you can sacrifice the Vexing Bauble and then start casting your 0-mana artifacts, and by then it's likely too late for the opponent. We also have Pithing Needle. This is for opposing copies of Boseiju who endorse. Most likely it's an Urza Saga target. Same thing with the Tormod's Crypt. The Mind Collapse is primarily for Teferi Time Raveler, but you also have Engineered Explosives or Boomerang Basics for that as well. So that's my really long deck tech. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any thoughts on the list, put those down below. But today we're playing a slightly more fair Song of Creation deck, and one that I truly believe is better. So I hope you enjoy it. Like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff, and I'll see you in match number 1. Don't go anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. You can also show your support by becoming a member of this channel. You get sweet perks such as badges, emotes, early access to videos, exclusive members-only content, and access to our members Discord section. As you increase the tiers, there are other rewards such as shop discounts, sideboard guides, and even free donation decks. Click the join button down below to find out more. We also have other ways you can support us, like theepicstorm.com/shop or submitting a donation deck via theepicstorm.com/donation decks. That's enough for now. Let's play some Magic. Welcome to match number 1. We're on the play. I've opened up a hand that doesn't really function, unfortunately. It's really close, but I think you're supposed to mulligan. This one is also awkward. We'll go to 5. This one plays Magic. We'll bottom a Mox Opal and a spare land here. So I'm keeping the second Tameo Inquisitive Student in case the first one dies. I understand I could keep land 4. I just don't think land 4 has more value than a backup Tameo. They play an Arid Mesa for a Blood Crypt. And turn 1 Thoughtseize. Goodbye to Tameo number 1. We'll play Tameo Inquisitive Student and pass the turn. They now play Misty Rainforest for Watery Grave. Cycle a Street Wraith. So this is like a Death Shadow deck? Yeah, they're at 8 already. They play a Forsaken Miner. Whenever you commit a crime, you may pay a black. If you do, return this card from the graveyard to your hand. And it cannot block. Then they play a Ragavan. I'll play the Breeding Pool. And then let's Malevolent Rumble. So I don't have to take the Song of Creation because we have the Shifting Woodland. I think it's actually better to take the Mox Opal here. And then I'll attack with the Tameo. So like I could threaten a win next turn. So I could play the Shifting Woodland as my land for the turn. Use the Eldrazi Spawn. Tap all of my mana, copy Song, play Opal and trigger, and then hopefully win from there. They play a Misty Rainforest. No blocks. You can have the card in the mana off the Ragavan. I go to 14. They exile the Scalding Tarn. I didn't want that anyway. They play Scourge of the Sky Claves. Okay. They still have 2 open mana here. I'll begin by attacking with the Tameo. This will create a clue, which is relevant because that gives us Metalcraft for the Mox Opal. We'll play Shifting Woodland. And now we can copy the Song of Creation. Alright, Song of Creation. Play the Mox Opal. Trigger. Tameo now transforms. Mox Opal. We'll plus the Tameo before I forget. Play Engineered Explosives. They still have 2 cards in their hand. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. And another Mishra's Bauble. Another Mox Opal isn't bad. Let's play out the Misty Rainforest. We'll fetch. This was a mulligan to 5. Deck looking pretty strong right now. We'll grab Steam Vents. Ouch. Blue to blue. We'll play Mox Opal. Yeah. Keep the new Mox Opal. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. Play another copy of Engineered Explosives. Play Mox Amber. We'll play Emery Lurker of the Loch. Need to not mill over the Grape Shot. I mean, I could always get it back, but I'd rather not have to. They're fetching in response to Emery Lurker of the Loch for a Steam Vents. They go to 5. They're going to counterspell. I will Pact of Negation. And now Emery. I did not mill over the Grape Shot. That's good news. We'll play another Mox Amber. Our opponent's pausing, but I don't know what they could possibly have here with 1 card in hand. We'll play another Mox Opal. 20 cards left in library. We'll play another Mox Amber. This was a mulligan to 5 where we won through turn 1 Thoughtseize with counterspell backup. This is quite the game. We drew the Grape Shot. Okay, we can end this now. Target you. And they concede. Okay, so now we need to win a post-board game. We probably want Veil of Summers. Mistrise Village, maybe. I don't hate leaving in Engineered Explosives, but I'm also sure I'm not like confident what we're supposed to cut. That's 66 cards. I think we could probably cut at least one land. So maybe a fetch land versus one of these decks. So because we're adding in 2, we can cut a fetch land. Probably get rid of 1 Mox Amber. That's 64. We'll get rid of 1 Engineered Explosives, and then maybe we'll shave on Tamiyo and Emery. And then we need 1 more cut. Probably the Pyrite Spellbomb. Like, I don't think they're an Orcish Bowmaster's deck, but I could be wrong. Well, this is a hand. Unfortunately, I think we have to mulligan. Ay. I'm going to keep it. We'll bottom the second copy of Rumble. See how much I regret keeping this, rather than going to 5 twice in a row against Grixis Shadow. For 1 Ragavan, classic. We'll play Tamiyo Inquisitive Student and Mishra's Bauble. They play Polluted Delta for a Watery Grave. Fatal Push. Unfortunate. They swing. They exile a Pact of Negation. I'm okay with that. I'll use the Mishra's Bauble. Let's look at their top card. Death Shadow. I'm not going to use the Noxious Revival because I really need more mana here. Mox Opal. Not particularly good. We'll play Explosives for 1. And I think we pass the turn. I could Noxious Revival for Mishra's Bauble, because that would turn on the Mox Opals, but then if I use the Explosives, I lose that mana. This time they hit a Song of Creation. They could play Song here. We know that they have Death Shadow in their hand. They actually played Song of Creation. Holy moly. Okay, things are getting wild. And now they're discarding their hand. Triple Shadow, double Meltdown. I think we're going to Noxious Revival back the Mishra's Bauble here. So we'll play the Bauble, Mox Opal, and now we can Rumble. Take a Song of Creation. I mean, right now I could play Song next turn, assuming that nothing bad happens. Am I supposed to block here? I would need to draw a mana. I think I'm going to block. They drew a counter spell for turn, so that's obviously not great with Song of Creation. And I did draw the mana, so I can play Song now. Tap for green. We'll play Mox Opal. Colorless blue, red. Play the Song of Creation. Pass the turn. Just a hunch. I'm going to be the better Song of Creation deck here. I should have bobbled in their upkeep to see what they drew. Whoops, I was too busy running my mouth. Although I guess if I don't bobble, I have all of my colors to cast things. But I think you're still probably supposed to bobble. They exiled Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. That gives them a spell to cast. Broxa, sure. So I'll end up losing 3 life here. They play a land, and now they fetch. For a Steam Vents, they're at 11. They cycle a Street Wraith down to 9. Alright, so I'll Mishra's Bauble, see what their top card is. Orcish Bowmasters, so they are playing it, and I did not respect it when sideboarding. So it's really important that I win this turn. We'll draw off Mishra's Bauble. That's not a spell. That is. Okay. I can't cast the Rumble. I don't have Metalcraft. No way. No effing way. And not having the Pyrite Spellbomb might cost me here. That's insane. Oh, wow. They have the Orcish Bowmasters. I guess I could draw Veil of Summer? Maybe it's fine. I do have Veil of Summers in my deck, although I'm at 9 already. Okay, I messed up. I wasn't supposed to let them attack with the Tamiyo, because now they get the trigger. In the beginning of combat, I was supposed to use the Explosives, because now they get the Clue token. Yeah, I messed that up. Now they have an Orcish Bowmasters. I need to draw a Veil of Summer in quickly. I believe there's still 3 left in my deck. Yeah, 3. They cycle a Street Wraith. Lightning Bolt. Wow. Alright, Veil of Summer needs to be one of my top cards. I guess I could just try to hold them off with a Bowmasters for a bit. We'll make a construct. Grab Haywire Might. They could bring back the Kroxa. I think I'm supposed to just pass the turn. Yeah, I'm not going to... I mean, I could try to eat their... Oh no, this is a Clue token, not a treasure. So they currently don't have the mana to Kroxa. So should I eat the Song of Creation? Yeah, I'm going to kill the Song of Creation here. I'm up to 7 life now. They're 1 mana short of using the Kroxa. They have 3 Veil of Summers and 2 Engineered Explosives left. They draw a card using the Clue token, and now they're passing. Breeding Pool will play our land. Pass the turn. They drew Lightning Bolt. Now they can attack. This puts me to 5. Okay. Okay, does this resolve is the question. Veil of Summer. We did see Counterspell in their deck. So I go to 3. Veil of Summer. The opponent just said in chat, what a draw. I mean, I'm not out of it yet. Auto yield to the triggers. Noxious Revival would put me to 1. And I'm not even sure if I want to play the Noxious Revival. Maybe I should? Is there a real difference between being at 1 and being at 3? I guess I'll target the Mox Amber. I'll go to 1. Drew Pact of Negation. So my spells can't be countered, so I might as well pact my own spell here, because it just draws 2. And now the Noxious Revival. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. And now we'll play Mox Amber. And there's the Grape Shot. So I guess, like, the concern would be Consign to Memory. Like, should I try to wait until I can protect it a little bit more? We'll play another Mox Amber. I have a feeling if they had Consign to Memory, though, they would have used it on my Song of Creation early on. But not everybody plays perfectly all the time, so I'm going to play around an obscure case here. We'll play Emery. Trigger the Emery. We did not mill over any copies of Pact of Negation. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. I'll play my first land of the turn, which will be Urza's Saga. And I've changed my mind. I'm going to just Grape Shot. I don't think that they have Consign to Memory. And if they did, they should have used it by now. My opponent's just like wasting a bunch of time not responding, like taking a long time on every spell I play, so I'd like to move on with my life, so I'm just casting the Grape Shot. And they did not have Consign to Memory. Alright, so we win match number 1. That was pretty exciting. 2 really good games in my opinion. Let's see if we can win match number 2. Moxfield.com is the easiest way to build a Magic deck online. They support over 30 formats, including Legacy and many other Eternal formats. There are so many options to view decks the way that you want, from text view to individual cards, mana value, and even card price. There's also light mode and dark mode. My personal favorite feature is card tags. This way you can sort cards by function. Moxfield supports collection tracking, Scryfall search, decklist feedback, and so much more. Follow me on moxfield.com so you can stay updated on all of my decks. Round number 2 on the play. Yeah, this seems great. This is a turn 2 flipped Tamiyo. So they have to have a turn 1 removal spell, or else we get to start plussing the Tamiyo into the ultimate. Alright, our opponent joined us. They wasted a few minutes of their clock. Probably not super important, but, you know, if they take a long time, those things do add up. We'll grab a Steam Vents. Actually, no, let's grab Breeding Pool. We have the Rumble here and the Shifting Woodland. We'll play Tamiyo, Mishra's Bauble, pass the turn. Let's look at their top card, Bloodstained Mire. So a deck that is likely to have a turn 1 removal spell. They played the Bloodstained Mire for a Steam Vents and their own Tamiyo Inquisitive student. Alright, we'll look at their top card. Subtlety. Okay. So I'll draw off Mishra's Bauble, draw for turn. I'm sorry, draw off the second one and now draw for turn. The Tamiyo will transform. We'll plus Tamiyo. Play Urza's Saga. Play the Mox Amber. Malevolent Rumble. So if I put the Song of Creation to the graveyard, it's actually better for me here. So I don't want to take it. I think I would be willing to take Mox Opal to trigger the song next turn. This deck can be really good. I say can be because sometimes you'll open up your hands and you're like, why am I playing this deck? But this is certainly a strong start. They dash a Ragavan. Okay. I think I'm allowed to block here. I don't need the mana from the Eldrazi spawn. So they get to investigate. We'll go to block. Urza Saga goes to the second chapter. We'll play the Shifting Woodland. I've tried lists that have 3 Shifting Woodland in them. And sometimes it's really bad because, like, you never want it to be your only land in your hand. But in these sort of situations, you're like, it's the best card in my deck because it makes Song of Creation easier to cast. And it's uncounterable. So even if they have, like, a Force of Negation here, it just doesn't matter. We'll play our first land. We'll play Mox Opal. And it's important to not plus the Tamiyo here because Tamiyo later on could return that Mishra's Bauble in the graveyard to your hand in order to trigger Song of Creation, for example. And here's Force of Negation. Alright, we're going to respond. Let's cast Noxious Revival, returning Mishra's Bauble. I could draw into a Pact of Negation, so I don't really want to just allow that to resolve. And I did draw into Pact of Negation, so big brain here. We'll counter the Force of Negation. Wow. Running hot. Turn 3 win. Our opponent had Tamiyo, Ragavan, Force of Negation, and we're making this look easy. We'll put another Mox Amber on top, I suppose. That for a blue. We'll use the Tamiyo Oh no, I can't return Mishra's Bauble. I'm sorry. It's the Instant or Sorcerer. I misspoke earlier. We'll return Noxious Revival. And because it's green, we get to make a mana. Okay, and now we'll Noxious Revival on Mishra's Bauble, I guess. Play the Mox Amber. Tap for another green. We'll play another Mox Amber. Mishra's Bauble. We've already seen half of our deck at this point. I'm just waiting to draw into Grape Shot. We'll play a Tamiyo, I suppose. Mishra's Bauble. Should have used my fetch land. I don't even know if I have fetchables left. I certainly don't have any untapped red fetchables left. I know that right now. I should have used this fetch land. I was too excited about drawing Pact of Negations. What would I like to do? I guess we'll Rumble. We'll take Mox Opal. There's the Grape Shot. Beautiful. Alright, so I'll Endurance because I can. We'll exile the Song of Creation. With this deck, you want to sacrifice first, so you use the ability on yourself, so you allow the sacrifice to happen, and then Endurance will put all of those cards on the bottom. And now we'll play Engineered Explosives. Term is now 17, and I can cast the Grape Shot for lethal. I'll let you. That was sweet. Okay. So far, not really missing an offer you can't refuse. We'll bring in Mistrise Village. We likely want Veil of Summer. Once again, we'll board out a land. I don't think we need the Pirate Spellbomb versus Izzet. The question is, do I want Vexing Bauble? Because we saw Force of Negation. The answer might be maybe. I don't think we need Engineered Explosives. The only concern would be not having enough zeros to win with Song of Creation. We'll try this out. This seems like a very good hand. Keep. Scalding Tarn, pass. We'll play Commercial District. I think we want 4 lands. I mean, that cast Song of Creation. Undercity Sewer. So you are Grixis. You're not Izzet. So now I have to worry about Bowmasters. And once again, the Spellbomb is in the sideboard. They play Steam Vents. Psychic Frog, okay. Not Orcish Bowmasters. It's not like I'm thrilled that a Psychic Frog is on the table, but I can beat a Psychic Frog. I don't know if I can beat Orcish Bowmasters. They play Polluted Delta, 5 cards still in their hand. They get to draw a spare card here with the Psychic Frog. They're just passing. I'll fetch. I would not mind finding another copy of Pact of Negation. I feel like we're going to need it this game. Land number 5 is not something we need. Another spell to trigger Song of Creation, but we have to resolve the Song of Creation first. And there's the Bowmasters. Okay. Unfortunate. I do have Veil of Summer in my deck, so we can beat it. It's not going to be easy, but it's possible. They get rid of a Flame of Anor. It's funny, when you look at Goldfish, and I'm not trying to make excuses here, but when you look at Goldfish, Orcish Bowmasters is like not really on the front page. There's like a couple of decks that play it. For the most part, modern decks don't really play that many Orcish Bowmasters. So this league is a little bit odd in the fact that we've faced 2 Bowmaster decks to start it off. They discard a land to pump up their Psychic Frog. So I'll take 4 down to 13. I'm going to fetch down to 12. They play a Tamiyo, 4 cards in their hand. I mean, I need to draw a Veil of Summer. That's the big thing here. We'll grab another Stomping Ground. Ding! So now the question is, do I play all my artifacts first? So if they have Counterspell, Force of Negation, I likely don't win this. But if I go Bauble, Bauble, Opal, play Song, I'd have 2 cards to trigger my Song of Creation. Assuming I have to use both Pact of Negation, I actually have 1 card. So no matter what, I'm playing my land. Alright, so I think I'm going to be a coward here and have Veil of Summer available. I think it's the right thing to do. I think that they likely have double backup, so I'm going to play around that. Alright, so red, blue, green, doesn't matter. Song of Creation. They play Mystical Dispute. I would like to Veil of Summer. They have 3 cards. Veil of Summer resolved. Let's go. So now we need to win, and I boarded out the explosives, so I need to win off very few resources here. We'll use a Mishra's Bauble, and now I'm going to Noxious Revival on the Mishra's Bauble. This puts me to 10. So my spells cannot be countered. We need some zeros. There we go. And then I'm going to Pact of Negation my own Noxious Revival. My spell will still resolve, don't get me wrong. It's just I get to draw 2 here. And now Mishra's Bauble goes on the top. We'll play Mox Amber. Auto yield to the triggers. Okay. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. Mox Opal. Storm is 11. We'll tap for a blue. We'll play another Mox Opal. Alright, I still have one more land drop this turn. I think I'm going to Rumble here because it makes a colorless and I get another thing to cast potentially. The only downside is if I flip over the Grape Shot. Rumble. Well, I don't want the Vexing Bauble. This was actually a pretty bad Rumble. I guess we take the Vexing Bauble? I don't know. It's a spell I can cast. Let's play the Endurance. Exile Song of Creation. Alright, so this is happening. It's going to shuffle everything in. We'll play an untap land. Ouch. I'll play Tamiyo. This will turn on the Mox Ambers. Tap for a blue. We'll play another Mox Amber. Keep the new one. We'll play another Mox Amber. 33 cards left in deck. I do need to make a red mana in order to win now. Sacrifice the Eldrazi Spawn. We'll play Vexing Bauble. And then I'll Pact of Negation the Vexing Bauble. So this way I can draw a couple more cards. And then we'll Pact of Negation the Pact of Negation. I guess my spells can't be countered, so I don't really have a reason to sacrifice the Vexing Bauble. Running out of stuff to do, though. We'll play another Tamiyo. Pact of Negation that. So I need to... Whoa, no. Hold on. Alright, so I need to hit like Mox Opal plus the Grape Shot. Noxious Revival. We'll put Mox Amber back on top. I'll go to 6. Tap this. Draw a card with the Bauble. Tamiyo, Legend Rule. There's the Grape Shot. So now it's just about finding another Mox Opal. 17 cards left. There we go. Alright, so I found the Mox Opal. So now the question is, can I just find another Pact of Negation? There's one Pact left. I'll play the Mishra's Bauble. We hit another Mox Amber. We'll play the Mox Amber. Play another Tamiyo. Legend Rule. Endurance is good here. Target myself. We'll make a red. Play another Mox Opal here. Make a blue. Another Mox Opal. And there's a Pact of Negation. So we can beat a Consigned to Memory. And they did not have one. We got it. So far, this build looks pretty strong. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's try to get the next 3. Looking to make playing your favorite combo deck much easier? Look no further than the Epic Storm Mini Combo Pack, which is available at theepicstorm.com/shop for $15.99. This token combo pack comes with 84 double-sided tokens featuring classic Storm and Mana tokens with new inclusions such as our modern Ruby Storm package, but that's not all. Our token pack covers a variety of formats from Pauper to CDH with new tokens. Stop on by theepicstorm.com/shop and make an easy decision to elevate your combo game. Round number 3. We've opened up a hand with no blue mana. This hand would be incredible if we had a single Mox Opal or blue mana source. Unfortunately, we don't. I think you have to send this one back. Okay, we'll keep and get rid of the Pact of Negation. Let's try it out. First turn, Hedge Maze. Stomping Ground. I'll play the Urza Saga. Pyrite Spellbomb. Mishra's Bauble. Mishra's Bauble. Play Mox Opal. Look at the storm count. It's great. They Force of Negation my Mox Opal. Well, that's just rude. Rude! Maybe I should have led on the Mox Opal? Yeah, I probably should have led on the Mox Opal. That's my own fault. And I should have used the Bauble right there, but I was too busy talking. Alright, so they're the Simic Birthing Ritual deck by the looks of it. We'll look at their top card with the Bauble. It's another Force of Negation. I think I'll just take the draw here. I'll leave the one Mishra's Bauble in play. We did not hit a blue mana source. We'll play Stomping Ground. Pass the turn. Unfortunate. They play Besage Who Endures and Shardless Agent. They flip a Coiling Oracle. We know that they still have that Force of Negation in hand. I'll just take the draw here. It's another, Gruul mana source. We'll float a colorless. Grab Mox Opal. And I think I'll play Emery Lurker of the Loch. Now we mill 4. Let's play Urza Saga. Pass the turn. They're fetching with Misty Rainforest for a Hedge Maze. They play land number 5, another Shardless Agent, and they reveal an Icefang Coatl. And now they have Dismember for my Emery. Okay, pretty good draw for them. So they still have another Force of Negation. We don't know if they have the blue card. They have 2 cards in their hand. And I'm going to take 3 down to 15. Alright, so Urza Saga will go to the second chapter here. We'll play Commercial District. Don't think I need another land. And we'll pass. They search out a Breeding Pool. They play another land. So Force of Negation and one other card here. They swing for 1. I will go to 14. We'll make a construct. Nice little 4/4. Draw for turn. It's another Emery Lurker of the Loch. Make another construct. Haywire Might. And I think now we just start attacking. Swing. They block with the Coiling Oracle. Let's try Emery again. So I could leave open the Haywire Might in case they draw a Birthing Ritual, but if they had it, they would have played it by now. So I'm going to take the chance that they don't have it, and then next turn I can double Pyrite Spellbomb. They do not attack this time. Their Icefang Quaddle does not have Death Touch because they do not have 3 snow permanents. So I guess they could Force of Negation the Pyrite Spellbomb when I go to recast it off of the Emery. So that would be a reason to not do it quite yet. I suppose I'll just play a Mishra's Bauble this turn. They play an Endurance. Sure, you got it. We'll go to combat. We'll swing with both construct tokens. Are you going to throw? Okay, well... Okay, so if I sack the Spellbomb, there's actual... If I sack the Spellbomb to kill a Shardless Agent, my construct becomes a 5/5 and it still doesn't trade well. So there's no reason to sack the Spellbomb here. We'll kill the Endurance and a Shardless Agent. And they're at 5 now. We'll play Temur Inquisitive Student. Their other card was Flare of Denial. Okay. Pass the turn. End step, I will kill the Shardless Agent. We'll attempt to replay the Pyrite Spellbomb this turn. I say attempt because they're going to Force of Negation it. And they do. I'll swing. They have 1 card left in their hand. They blocked the Haywire Might. That's interesting. So now they're at 1. In their upkeep, I'm going to put a Scalding Tarn on top of their deck. My opponent just said nice in the chat. Alright, so we took game 1 from a deck with a lot of interaction in it. Nice. I guess you don't have to be a combo deck all the time. We likely want Veil of Summer, Mistrized Village. We likely want Vexing Bauble. They play a lot of free interaction. I don't love Engineered Explosives in this matchup. They are a Harbinger of the Seas deck, so I wonder if you want Boomerang Basics, but we might not. Like, I'm just not confident in that decision. Because, like, you don't really want to bounce any of their other things. It doesn't seem like a great Noxious Revival matchup either, but I don't know if you're allowed to board down a ton of those. I'm going to board out 1 of each Legend, because they're a deck that just has, like, 2 Dismembers in it, so I don't think that we necessarily need them in multiples. And then the question is, like, do you want the Boomerang Basics? I really don't. Because like I'm going to lose a game to Harbinger, I can see it happening, but it's like pretty bad against the rest of their deck. I guess it's like good at bouncing Oculus, but if like I bring in Boomerang Basics, I don't think I want Noxious Revival. Noxious Revival might be bad against the opposing Endurance deck anyway. Maybe I'll do -1 Mox Amber for a 3rd Boomerang Basics. We'll try this. I'm not super confident in this board plan. Another thing you could do is just board out the Rumbles. Probably can't do it right now because they've already submitted. My clock was frozen, that's how I know. But if I lose this game, maybe I'll board out Rumble next game. I mean, it's a hand with a lot of Pact of Negations. They mulligan. I think I'm going to try it. I'm not confident with this hand because like you don't really want to use Pact of Negation unless you find Song of Creation. And then if you find Song of Creation, it's wonderful, but do we find it? They play turn 1 Hedge Maze again. Versus Saga was a good draw. I don't think I want or need another Veil of Summer, so I'm willing to put that one to the graveyard. They play Basic Island, a 3rd Pact of Negation, yikes. Alright, Saga has entered. We'll pass the turn. Instead they flash in an Icefang Quaddle. Alright, that's 2 other snow permanents, so 1 more and this thing will have Death Touch. There's Harbinger of the Seas, and I cannot Pact of Negation this. And I don't believe it's going to gain any more chapters. Like, I could Boomerang Basics it, but I think it's already past that point. The next turn they would just replay it. I'm going to save myself some time. I'm going to concede this. We'll go to the next one. I'm going to just send it back. Like, my hand just ended up not being great. Like, I drew all of the Pact of Negations. Like, maybe I should have mulliganed. This seems fine. We'll keep. We'll play a turn 1 Steam Vents, Mox Amber, Cameo Inquisitive Student. And then I'll play the Mishra's Bauble. So next turn, on their turn, I can Mishra's Bauble. Next turn, I draw a card for turn. I draw a card for Bauble. I attack, I make a clue, and I transform. Verdant Catacombs. So I draw a card off Bauble. Now I draw for turn. Play Urza Saga. And now I will attack with Tamiyo. We get to investigate, so create that clue. And I'll draw. This will transform Tamiyo. Boomerang Basics. Good one. We'll plus the Tamiyo. And I'll play Emery Lurker of the Loch. Oh, no, I can't. I'm one short. Okay, pass. Sorry. I only have one artifact. I should have played Emery pre-combat. Or post-combat before I transformed. Yeah, so I made a mistake there. I should have played Emery and then transformed the Tamiyo. In my head, I'm just explaining why I did it wrong. In my head, I was like, well, if they kill the Tamiyo in response to the clue token, that means the Emery lives. But then I couldn't play the Emery, so that's my own fault. Now they fetch with the Misty, Basic Forest, Boiling Oracle. They reveal a Shardless Agent. 6 cards in their hand. Saga goes to the second chapter. We'll play our land. Let's fetch, grab Stomping Ground, make a construct. So now the Emery will cost 1 less like it should have last turn. We'll play the Emery, and then we'll plus the Tamiyo. Pass the turn. They play another Hedge Maze, so they couldn't play the Shardless Agent this turn. Birthing Ritual, okay. Let's see what they find with the Birthing Ritual here. Electroof. Well, okay. A little rude. Veil of Summer's the draw. Let's make another construct. So I can play a Mox Opal off of the Emery, so I don't really want to search that out. Maybe the Haywire might. And then I'll play the Mox Opal plus the Tamiyo. And I'll attack with a 5/5. Pass the turn. They now play the Shardless Agent. They find another Collector Roof. Okay. So this game is still very winnable. If my Tamiyo Ultimate finds the remaining Boomerang Basics, we could win this turn, but the question is, do we find it? Who knows? They sacrifice the Shardless Agent for a Harbinger of the Seas. Think I'm going to Ultimate the Tamiyo here? Did we find the other Boomerang Basics? We did. Alright, so we'll play the first one on Collector Roof, and now the other Boomerang Basics on Collector Roof. They Force of Negation. I have 1 Pact of Negation in my hand. So if they have another counter spell, I would die to my own Pact of Negation trigger. Is that something I want to risk? I don't think so. I think I can win this game by just attacking with 2 large constructs. So let's just think through this. Yeah, I don't know why I would try to fight here. It just seems really risky to me. We're going to let that go. We'll play Mishra's Bauble. We have 6 6s now. Play another Mishra's Bauble. We'll use the Emery, target the other Mishra's Bauble. We'll play that. It's another 8/8s. Go to combat. We'll attack for 16. They have to block at least one of these. Okay, so they chose to give us back our lands. Maybe I should have attacked first before playing the second one. That might have been an area for improvement here. We'll play another Urza Saga, so that way next turn I can make more constructs. Pass the turn. They play Coiling Oracle. You got it. They find Sink in a Stupor, so that could answer a construct next turn. They play it as a land, untapped, going to 2. Ice Fang Coatl, another blocker. They're going to attack Tamiyo. That just puts them dead on board, right? I gotta just let Tamiyo die and then we swing out. I guess the only way that they don't die, I mean, I shouldn't even say it out loud, but the only way they don't die is if they hit Oculus off of Birthing Ritual. Like, it has to be exactly Oculus. And it is. Ah, sure. You got it. So now they get to Manifest Dread here. They have Force of Vigor. Wow. I need to think about this if I want to consider using my Pact of Negation. What? So if I Pact of Negation, they get to Manifest Dread, they get 2 blockers. I think I'm supposed to let it go. We'll take a draw. Hopefully it's Grape Shot. It's not Grape Shot. Urza Saga goes to the next chapter. I'll play Shifting Woodland and another Tamiyo. Pass the turn. Now they play Harbinger. So I think this means I can make like infinity constructs. I'm pretty sure that's how this works. But it also means that I can't cast the Grape Shot moving forward. We'll make a construct. They attack with the Oculus. No blocks. I'll go to 10. Birthing Ritual again. They found another Oculus. I'm not winning this. Pretty sure I'm locked out. This game got away from me. Mox Amber's the draw. That doesn't help. Play a Breeding Pool as an island. Attack with a construct. I mean, they're making 2 blockers a turn. I'm not going to be able to get through it in time. The second Oculus was so good. I mean, the first one was very good too, don't get me wrong. We actually had opposite problems too this game of, if I could have drawn more Pact of Negations, we would have been okay, but I only drew the 1. Last game we drew triple Pact of Negation in our top like 8 cards. They're attacking. We'll go to block. So I'll block an Oculus, throw the Haywire Might in front of one of the creatures, block with the Emery. Oh, I could have made a construct and blocked. What am I doing? What am I doing? Just not paying attention to the board state, I guess. Is this a third Oculus from hand? What are you trying to cast? We'll make a construct. Yeah, I felt like I played this game a little too conservatively. Like, maybe I should have thrown out the Pact of Negation. They're getting rid of an Oculus? What for? Another Oculus? Okay. And we draw a Pact of Negation that's far too late. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to win this. Okay. I mean, that was a close match. We just didn't win. It happens. I could have probably played better, but c'est la vie. We're 2-1. You're still watching. Make sure to give this video a like, comment, and subscribe. While you're near the description, here's a reminder to use our affiliate links if you're going to make a purchase from Amazon, Card Hoarder, or TCG Player. Just above those affiliate links, you'll find our social channels. Make sure to join those to connect with us. Round number 4, we're on the draw. I think I'm going to keep this. Little disappointed because I think I could have won last round if I played better, but we're just going to focus on winning this match and not what happened in the previous one. They play a Starting Town, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Opal, Mox Amber. This is a Storm turn. They use the Mishra's Bauble. Not sure what they're playing, not yet at least. And they see my Noxious Revival. We'll play the Shifting Woodland, pass the turn. They play an Ottawara, Soaring City. Emery, Lurker of the Loch. I mean, it looks a little bit like a mirror match here. Grinding Station. Agatha, Soul Cauldron. Sure. We drew a Misty Rainforest. I'd like to play Urza's Saga, and then we'll pass the turn. I wonder if this is the Kethis combo deck. They're targeting Grinding Station. I guess I'll Noxious Revival it. They don't get to play it this turn, and it eats away a draw step. They play a Rumble. This is the Kethis combo deck. The Plaza Heroes gives it away. I did not keep a hand that was good in this matchup, that's for sure. And they chose Teferi Time Raveler off of the Rumble. And that's Teferi. So they could bounce my Urza Saga here, and they do. Yeah, we're not winning this. Song of Creation was a good draw. We'll play Misty Rainforest, I suppose. They exile my Noxious Revival. They plus Teferi. They use Emery to return Grinding Station. They play the Grinding Station. And with the untapped trigger on the stack, they mill over a Jace the Perfected Mind. And they have a Temur Inquisitive Student. Okay. So because the Teferi bounced our land, we're now an extra turn behind on trying to win this game. Don't need another land. Another Urza Saga. We'll play our island and pass. So we can attempt to win next turn, but the issue is that my hand is really bad and I don't have 0 mana cards. But maybe if they don't have anything, we could steal a win here. They attack with the Tamiyo. This creates a clue where they get to use the Grinding Station now. Okay, I don't know what that one is. Arbaz Mirror. Whenever it or another non-token historic permanent you control enters, each deals 1 to each opponent and you gain 1 life. Okay. They play a Mox Amber. Now they're going to use the Grinding Station again. These don't look like good hits to me. And they have the Kethis. Am I dead? I'm going to make them go through it because if not, I can attempt to win on my turn. So they use the Kethis ability that allows them to play legendary cards from the graveyard by exiling 2. And I mean, I should be dead here, but I'm going to make them go through it. I want to make sure that I'm actually dead. Okay. Yeah, they have plenty here. I'll save myself some time on this planet, and I'll concede. So they could use the Kethis ability again that allows them to replay all the Mox Opals and Mox Ambers and everything. So we didn't get it. My hand was just too slow for the matchup. We want the Needle. Likely want the Beseiju. Probably want Tormod's Crypt and the Mind Collapse. I don't think we need Pact of Negation here, unless they have like an Orum's Chant. Maybe I should have them though. Like they could have sideboard copies of Orum's Chant. I don't think Beseiju is actually that good here, so I'm not going to bring that in. Pirate Spellbomb doesn't seem great. And then 2 copies of Tamiyo. This seems like a combo mirror where speed matters a lot, not grinding with Tamiyo. So I'll try this out, see how it goes. On the play. Yeah, we keep these. Give me a Malevolent Rumble. We'll play Commercial District. I don't need another Song of Creation. They have a starting town, Mishra's Bauble, Mox Amber, and they pass. So they'll draw a card off the Bauble here. We drew another land. Probably should have played the one that they saw off Mishra's Bauble, just playing a little lazy, I guess. They play another starting town and a Rumble. They hit a Kethis here, so they have their key combo piece, and they do choose it. We'll fetch a Surveil land here. Edge Maze. Get rid of the Shifting Woodland, it doesn't help me. We'll play the Scalding Tarn. Mind Collapse is interesting. If I can get the Song of Creation into play, I can cast it for free. It is an instant, but it's not an instant if you sacrifice a mountain to cast it. You cannot instant speed sack a mountain. You actually have to pay the 4. The Fairy Time Raveler, sure. They make a white and then bounce the Mox Amber. They replay it. And a Tamiyo. Okay. Another Mox Amber. Agatha's Soul Cauldron. Then step will fetch. I go to 18. We'll grab Stomping Ground. Alright, time to try to win. We'll play the Urza Saga. Red, blue, green. Song of Creation. We'll now cast the Mind Collapse to kill the Teferi Time Raveler. Draw 2. Play Mox Opal. Mishra's Bauble. Engineered Explosives. There's the Grape Shot. That's good. We'll play an island. Play the Emery, Lurker of the Loch. This means that we have a legend for our Mox Ambers. Speaking of Mox Ambers, we have 3 of them, so we'll start casting those. Just making a bunch of blue mana here. Term is currently 9. Mishra's Bauble. I don't know if I want to show them the Tormod's Crypt, so I might hold that one in hand. We'll make a red. Play Mox Opal. Like, I don't want to show them any of my Graveyard Hate, so I don't really want to show them the Endurance either. Storm is 12. I guess I'll play another Emery. I don't love that I have to mill, though. Okay, they decided to concede. So I didn't have to show them my cards, which is nice. I'm going to resubmit. I was thinking for a moment about Vexing Bauble, and if that's a card I'm interested in. But I'm not sure if it is. So I'm choosing to leave it in the sideboard. This hand I don't think is good enough. Triple Engineer Explosives, no thank you. Also, Grape Shot is like a mulligan. So if you find Song of Creation, this hand is fine, but that's a big if. I think it's better than going to 5. They have a turn 1 Plaza of Heroes, Tamiyo Inquisitive Student, Mishra's Bauble. So they should be able to flip the Tamiyo on their turn. They look at my card. It's a Scalding Tarn. I'll play the Hedge Maze. I'm aware of what I could play Scalding Tarn this turn. I want to get the tap land out. Rumble was a great draw, because that digs for the Song of Creation, but also gives me the possibility of a turn 3 win if I hit the song. So they play a starting town and now their own Rumble. They mill over Mox Amber, Mox Opal, and another Plaza of Heroes. I'm guessing they choose a Mox Amber here. They play the Mox Amber, Mishra's Bauble, 3 cards still in hand. And now they attack. They could still transform Tamiyo, and they do. Okay. They use the Mishra's Bauble. I'll use the Scalding Tarn that they saw. We'll fetch. Grab Stomping Ground. Ouch. Please give me Song of Creation. I'm begging you. Guess I gotta tap the right mana, though. Malevolent Rumble. No Song of Creation. We'll take Haywire Might. I'll play the Bauble because it gives me an extra chance of drawing into Song of Creation. Their top card is Grinding Station. That's not good for me. Alright, so we will pass. We both draw a card off Mishra's Bauble in the upkeep. Noxious Revival. I'm going to Noxious Revival on the Rumble. Just try to slow them down a turn. They play the Grinding Station. Now they use it. They moved over a Comball. That's interesting. Okay. Mishra's Bauble. We're going to use the Grinding Station again. Okay. Maybe I'll get lucky and find something good. They have 3 cards remaining in their hand. Emery, Lurker of the Loch. We'll play the Urza Saga. This can get a Tormod's Crypt in a couple turns, but we have to live that long. We'll play Haywire Might. The Grinding Station triggers. The question is, do I want to hold the explosives in hand, or do I want to use the Eldrazi spawn? And I think I'd rather use the Eldrazi spawn. We'll play Emery. No real good reveals. I will attempt to Haywire Might the Grinding Station. They should sacrifice it in response. And they do. So I'm hoping that the Haywire Might can buy me some time until the Urza Saga is able to get the Tormod's Crypt. They plus the Tamiyo. They play land number 4. 3 cards still in their hand. Looks like they're going to cast the Kethis here. Okay. I don't love that. They activated the ability. What did they exile? Tamiyo and Teferi. They get to play a couple mocks in here. Are you trying to cast the Comball? Is that what you're doing? Yeah, okay. So explosives for 3. I'm 2 turns away from that actually working. Mox Opal. Does that actually allow me to use the explosives this turn? So Saga goes to the second chapter. I can play my land. So I'd have to play the Mishra's Bauble, but I could explosives for 3 this turn. I would lose my Emery, but I think that might be okay. Grab the basic. So blue, red, green, engineered explosives. I'll lose 2 life. They'll go up to 19. Play the Mox Opal, the same thing happens. I'm just going to auto-yield to this trigger. I don't need to announce it to you each time. They have Beseiju who endures. Wow. Insane here. I guess I sequenced poorly. I could have gone Bauble, Opal, but I wasn't considering Beseiju. That's just the nuts. We'll grab Commercial District. Get rid of the Mishra's Bauble. And I have to pass the... Oh, hold on. Do I have to pass the turn? I can play the Haywire Might. Now I'll pass the turn. I have to hope that I'm not dead. Ashiok. So that would stop me from getting the Tormod's Crypt next turn with the Urza Saga. I could Pact of Negation it, but then they could just recast it using the Kethis, so I have to let this go. Ah, that's annoying. That's very annoying. They use a Rumble, or the returning Rumble with the Tamiyo. They select a Watery Grave, and now they use the Kethis. Am I dead? So they can use the Jace the Perfected Mind to draw 3 cards. So they can target themselves and then draw 3. The Fairy Time Raveler, sure. Yeah, they've got it from here. I don't think I can actually win. Okay. We were so close. We were really close to winning this one, but unfortunately we didn't. And now we're 2-2. With Card Hoarder, renting your favorite combo deck has never been easier. There isn't a more affordable solution for Magic Online. Want to play the deck in this video? Check out the pinned comment below to easily rent the deck from Card Hoarder. Did you know you can rent the Epic Storm from Card Hoarder for as little as 7 tickets a week? The final round of this Modern League, we are on the play. I don't know about this one. Yeah, I think this hand's just a little too awkward. This is better. We'll keep and bottom the Pact of Negation. If I knew that our opponent was on a blue deck, I would keep the Pact of Negation, but I don't have that information. So I'm going to keep the Noxious Revival instead. Tamiyo resolves, we'll pass the turn. Wooded Foothills. We'll attack with Tamiyo. He creates a clue that will give me Metalcraft. We'll play Engineered Explosives for 0. Play the Mox Opal. And let's cast Malevolent Rumble. That could have been better. Urza Saga? We'll play the Urza Saga. Pass the turn. Elegant Parlor. Okay. They surveil away an Arid Mesa. I don't think Energy keeps a hand that's just turn 1 surveil. So this might be like Ruby Storm. It is. It's Ruby Storm. Okay. End step. Let's draw a card using the clue. That's a Song of Creation. Saga goes to the second chapter. We'll attack. So I can try to win this turn. I say try because it's not guaranteed. Blue, colorless, green. Play the Song of Creation. And now we'll Noxious Revival on Mox Opal. This puts me to 16. Trigger the song. Tamiyo transforms. And now I'll play Mishra's Bauble. Let's plus the Tamiyo before I forget. And now we'll play Mox Opal. Keep the new one. Mishra's Bauble. Little blue. And they just concede. Nice. Let's go. Love it. Alright, so sometimes they have Orm's Chant. I want to leave in Pact of Negation. Tormod's Crypt is probably better than Pyrite Spellbomb. Needle might be better than an Explosives. Beseiju is probably a card I'd like. Board out a fetch land, maybe. And let's submit. As much as I love having Malevolent Rumble in my hand for the possibility of a turn 3, this hand kind of stinks. I'm going to send it back. I'm going to keep. We'll bottom Stomping Ground. They have a Scalding Tarn. Play Hedge Maze. Surveil away the Bauble. We'll play another. I'm just going to use it. Fast and Flames is their top card. They'll probably fetch and Surveil. I'm just being lazy here because I don't think it actually matters all that much. Elegant Parlor, so they no longer have the Past in Flames, and they kept the card on top. We draw Tormod's Crypt. That's okay. They play a Desperate Ritual, Ruby Medallion, 1 red mana floating, Manamorphose. Going for the turn 2 win. Ren's Resolve. It reveals Valakut Awakening and another Ren's Resolve. That hit a Pyretic Ritual. So they ran out of fumes, ran out of gas. So we'll play Urza Saga. We'll play Needle. And I'll name Rail Leyline Prodigy, which is the back half of the card. Whereas if you name Monsoon Mage, it doesn't do what you want it to. And then I'll play Tormod's Crypt and a Tamiyo Inquisitive Student. Pass the turn. They play a Bloodstained Mire from Exile, Reckless Impulse, reveals Wish and a Pyretic Ritual. So if they have, like, Empty the Warrens, that's a little problematic. Or if they have, like, a Meltdown, because that could hit Tormod's Crypt and Needle. They play Pyretic Ritual, Past in Flames. I'm going to respond here. I'll use the Tormod's Crypt. They still have a Pyretic Ritual. So what they can do is let the Tormod's Crypt resolve, in response cast the other ritual, and they did not do that. Now they're fetching with Bloodstained Mire. So if they had ritualed in response, they could have gotten 5 total mana. So a slight mistake on their part, assuming that I am correct with the Pyretic Ritual still being in exile, along with the Valakut Awakening. Yeah, they messed up. And now they play the Valakut Awakening. They put all of the cards on the bottom. Nothing else I can do here. So they Pyretic Ritual. They could play Wish for 2 mana into like a Grape Shot for 7. Because they could still play the Wish here. And they're going to Grape Shot my Tamiyo. They have 1 card left in their hand. And they're choosing to not play the Wish. I mean, I think I would have wished for the Cyborg Grape Shot and kept that Grape Shot in my hand. But what do I know? Alright. I'm at 16. You have 1 card. I would like something good as my draw step. That was not something good. Urza Saga goes to the 2nd chapter. I'll play Island Pass. I need them to not have another ritual. They play a land. What is your last card? Because if their last card is another ritual, I'm probably dead. But if it's not, next turn I have Shifting Woodland for Tormod's Crypt. It's Wish. I didn't realize that they could play the Wish from exile this turn, so I guess I was wrong about that. I thought that its expiration date was last turn, not this turn, so I messed that up. And they Glimpse the Impossible. Okay. So they're going to get a bunch of Eldrazi. Oh no! I skipped through the end step. I was supposed to make a construct token there. No! That's not good. Ah, why am I like this? That was so dumb. We'll grab Haywire Might. Play the Shifting Woodland. Oh no, the Shifting Woodland is going to become a tapped Tormod's Crypt. That doesn't do what I want it to. I just realized. Yeah, it becomes a tapped Tormod's Crypt. I think I just might be dead here. Use the Haywire Might on the Ruby Medallion. Pass the turn. So, like, Noxious Revival on the Past in Flames doesn't really help here. They play a land. Manamorphose. I'm probably just dead. Yeah, I'm going to concede. So what stinks is if I had made the construct on the end step, I could have gotten Mox Opal, and then Shifting Woodland would have worked. So I misplayed that pretty badly. What's wrong with me? Let's try it again. I thought that I hit 0, which is skip until the end step. Like, genuinely, I thought I hit 0. It turns out I hit 6, which is not what I wanted to do. So it's my bad. Can we live till turn 4? I'm going to keep. I don't know about this one. We'll play Stomping Ground, Mishra's Bauble, Mishra's Bauble. Let's look at their top card, the Desperate Ritual. Probably a card they're pretty happy to see here. We draw a Tamiyo. Not a terrible draw if I can draw into a blue mana source for this Mox Amber. I'll use the Mishra's Bauble, and we reveal a mountain. So we'll draw off the Mishra's Bauble, and then we'll draw for turn. Rumble's good. Rumble is very good. We'll play Besage. So it's actually a trap to play the Saga here, because the Rumble gives you a colorless. So if this Rumble can find a blue land, I can play Song next turn. Well, it found an Opal. I think we take Opal, but it means that I can play Song, but it's going to be tough to trigger it. So I could play, I'm just talking out loud here. I could go Amber Explosives Opal right now and play the Tamiyo, but then I have nothing to trigger the Song. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave myself the possibility of drawing an untapped blue land. They fetch with Arid Mesa. They play Mountain, Pyretic Ritual. We know that they still have Desperate Ritual in their hand. Ruby Medallion, trying to turn to me again. Manamorphose, they might do it. This is a strong hand. Reckless Impulse. Reveals Pyretic Ritual, Reckless Impulse. Wow. And now a Manamorphose, they're cooking. I might be dead. I need them to brick. If it's Desperate Ritual Past in Flames, I think this game is over. Come on, just pass the turn. What could hurt? Now a Grave Shot, so I'm guessing I'm not dead. They accidentally targeted themselves with the first one. So they're going to take a point of damage that they didn't need to. And they killed my Eldrazi spawn, so I'm not going to be able to combo out next turn. Or draws Emery. So we'll play Urza Saga. They have 3 cards. Let's play the Mox Amber. And then we'll play Explosives for 2. And now I have Mox Opal active. So now I can play Emery. And then I can use the Explosives to kill the Ruby Medallion. Alright, pass. They can still play Sacred Foundry this turn. And I know that they still have a Desperate Ritual in their hand. They're going to kill my Urza Saga. We draw Grape Shot. Thinking through my options here. So I could play Song of Creation Pass, but that doesn't seem very good to me. I could play Explosives for 2, and that would shut off either Rail or Ruby Medallion, instead of having to guess with the Haywire Might that they play another Ruby Medallion. So we'll target Engineered Explosives. We'll play it for 2, and I'll pass the turn. They still have 3 cards in their hand. They play land number 4. They still have Desperate Ritual. They play the Rail Monsoon Mage, so I'm glad that I didn't play Haywire Might. Do I play it safe here and just clear the Rail? Or do I just untap and try to Song of Creation? I get punished if the last cards in their hand are like Silence, or another Wear Tear. I know that one of the cards is Desperate Ritual, though. No, actually, that's not true. Even if they flip the Rail Monsoon Mage, the mana value is still 2. So if they try to flip here, it would still die. They changed that rule a while back. The mana value of the back is still the same as the front. And our opponent must not know that rule. Alright, we'll replay Engineered Explosives again. They have 1 card. I'm going to just pass. They have 1 card. I don't think I could die from here, but I've been wrong before. They play land number 5. Alright, let's see if I can win. Song of Creation. Play Mox Opal. Trigger Song. Alright, we got there. 3-2 hero. Honestly, this league, all of the matches were really close. This could have been a 5-0. With a little bit of better play on my side, because I think in both losses there was a few things I could have done more optimally, but I don't play this deck that often, and sometimes I make mistakes. I am human. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. I really liked the Engineered Explosives upgrade over an offer you can't refuse. Boomerang Basics was decent. I thought the deck list was pretty good. Let me know what you think of it in the comments section. I hope you have a wonderful day. Keep storming. Hey you, yeah you, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And if you're interested, you can visit theepicstorm.com/donation-decks to see your combo deck here on this very YouTube channel. You can even join me in a video in the Epic tier. It's totally worth it, I promise. And see ya. Thanks for watching.